What if the scariest thing about Leatherface wasn't the chainsaw, but the reason he picked it up in the first place? Today we're diving deep into one of horror's most disturbing figures, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But here's the twist, he's not just some mindless killer. Stick around because once you hear the real story behind Leatherface, you might realize he's way more tragic and terrifying than you ever thought. Let's crank the chainsaw and get into it. First, quick reality check. Leatherface isn't some made-up boogeyman completely pulled out of thin air. He was actually inspired by a real guy, Ed Gein, a notorious killer from 1950s Wisconsin. Ed Gein lived alone on a creepy farm. He dug up graves. He made furniture out of bones and skin. He wore masks made from human faces. Yeah, real nightmare fuel. And that's where Tobe Hooper, the director of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, got the spark for Leatherface. But here's the thing. In the 1974 movie, Leatherface isn't just copying Ed Gein. He's something even darker. Leatherface is a product of absolute bone-deep abuse. He's part of a sadistic family, the Sawyer family. Raised in isolation, fed twisted ideas about the world. He's mentally challenged and heavily dependent on his family. He never really had a choice about who he became. When you watch him closely in the movie, you notice he doesn't talk, he mostly grunts and squeals. He wears human skin masks, but not just for fear. Each mask shows a different personality he's trying to be. Sometimes he's the homemaker, like when he's wearing an apron and cooking. Sometimes he's the protector when he's chasing outsiders off his property. Sometimes he's the obedient son, following orders from his older family members. It's terrifying, but it's also heartbreaking. Leatherface doesn't really know who he is. He's like a broken puppet yanked around by the people who should have protected him. And that's where the real horror kicks in. Leatherface isn't evil because he wants to be. He's evil because he was made to be. Think about it. The Sawyer family treats him like a weapon. Need dinner? Leatherface will hunt it. Need to scare off strangers? Leatherface will rev up the chainsaw. They control him, manipulate him, use him. He's not the mastermind. He's the attack dog. But here's the twist. The real tragedy is that he doesn't seem to understand that what he's doing is wrong. He doesn't kill for fun. He kills out of fear. Fear of punishment. Fear of disappointing his family. Fear of the unknown. He's trapped in a violent world with no escape. Let's dig deeper. In the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when Sally, the final girl, first stumbles into the Sawyer house, it's already a living nightmare. Rooms filled with bones. Furniture made of human remains. Buckets of blood. And then Leatherface appears. Apron on, face mask stitched tight, chainsaw roaring. He's not some slick slasher villain like Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers. Leatherface is messy. Panicked. Awkward. Almost childlike in his terror. When he kills Sally's friends, it's almost as if he's reacting, not attacking. Like a scared animal backed into a corner. There's even a scene where after the killings, Leatherface sits down by himself and has a full-on panic attack. He paces. He bites his nails. He squeals like a frightened pig. He's confused. Not proud. Not victorious. It's like he's terrified of what he just did. Or maybe terrified of how his family will react if he messes up. And that's another key to understanding him. Leatherface doesn't have autonomy. He doesn't chase teenagers for sport. He's not plotting murder sprees. He's reacting, trying to survive inside the only messed up system he's ever known. To Leatherface, the chainsaw, the masks, the horror is normal life. And that's what makes him so tragic. Because the question hanging in the air is this: if he had been raised differently, Could Leatherface have been something else? Fast forward to the final scenes of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sally escapes. Leatherface stands alone on the highway, swinging his chainsaw wildly in the sunrise, almost like he's throwing a tantrum. But if you look closer, it's more than just rage. It's confusion. It's loss. It's pain. His world, the tight little bubble his family built, is cracking, and Leatherface doesn't know how to handle it. That image, the chainsaw slicing the air, Leatherface spinning helplessly, is one of the most iconic horror shots ever filmed. Because in that moment, he's not the predator. He's the lost, abandoned child, screaming into a world he doesn't understand. So when people talk about Leatherface as just a mindless killing machine, they're missing the real story. Leatherface is a victim of brutal conditioning, a symbol of what happens when innocence is twisted into something monstrous. Proof that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we create ourselves. He's terrifying, yes, but he's also heartbreaking. Because deep down, Leatherface isn't hunting because he loves blood. He's hunting because he doesn't know any other way to live. At the end of the day, Leatherface is a mirror. He shows us what happens when humanity fails its most vulnerable and turns them into something unrecognizable. He's not the evil we're born with. He's the evil we build. And that's why Leatherface will always haunt us, chainsaw roaring, mask stitched tight, a walking tragedy wrapped in terror. If you want to uncover even more dark truths behind horror's most twisted icons, smash that next video before it vanishes into the shadows.